What's going on, everybody? It's Etheric Moss coming to you with the moon recap. You know what I'm saying? I've been experiencing and living life, so I haven't did a play-by-play of what to expect when expecting the birth or the waning phase of the lunar transits. So we had the moon basically transit through the fall half of the Horus, the 360 parameter, right? So the moon initiated, this communication, this emotional balance of polarities and knowing right and wrong and what side you fall on. Then it transformed and had a deep intent or a passion to release, and now we are here with expanding upon meanings and reasonings of our emotions to attach to our personal personas, right? And when the moon was in Libra, it was trining Pluto in Aquarius. So, and Libra is in the South Node. So we were comfortable bringing balance and seeing what sides to go extreme on, or what sides you aren't so extreme on. Like when you have something, you know what you are without. A lot of times people tend to see what they don't have by looking at what they do have, because if you have something you want to compare it to something, you want to either be creative and transform that vision or idea into something to relate these things and to either make them clash or to make them blend or to make them opposites, put space in between something that's bringing, a space of energy, or bringing them together, and then seeing how the environment, how differently you see the environment, or the perimeter or atmosphere between these two things. So that was our relationships and our previous ways, of being comfortable and being in balance. When you're in the balance perspective, you aren't, too lost into the rebellious natures of just rebellion to be different, like being so far out there away from Leo that you're not wearing your heart on your sleeve. Sometimes when you're dealing with humanity, you gotta sacrifice your own needs for the betterment of the world, and Leo puts their hearts on their sleeves to create a spotlight, to create some attention that they can do with what they will, so it can go through a transition, because Leo's fixed, but no fixed element is holding on to that energy for long. So so it's not holding on to it for long. So power control issues, dealing with our networks, how we're rubbing elbows and rubbing shoulders with certain associations that you don't have any power and control over. The things you're associating yourself with might be having power control issues over you. Might be having power control because Aquarius can associate themselves and rub shoulders and be detached. But sometimes you using a microscope or using that mad scientist lens, you can create a tool to analyze, and you get lost into that tool. As in the Virgo, that misunderstanding of Virgo analyzing from within its internal natures of not participating with certain energies. And Aquarius is already participating with these energies, but it's not looking to how something makes sense on a pattern or a detail. It's about the mass variety. So so that trine was a gift of taking power control over our previous relationships, relative to having something to compare them to based off the things that need to be taken power control and authority over, or even just things that you can't, knowing what you can and cannot control from a perspective from measuring how far you are away, because you can be so far separated from something that you even gauge, like I went back to the Virgo, that you gauging and measuring how far you are away from that thing is something else in its own. So we had, and that's the opposition. I enjoyed that transit, even though it was the opposition, because it was all about balancing your previous and former relationships, but you're doing it in a personal way. You're sparking this energy. You aren't being seen like Leo, but it's Aries. The vision you are projecting is being seen. The spark, the initiative that you are taking is being seen. and what you're personally into, what you're personally sparking, or being independent. You being independent about going about certain relationships, because about a lot of times it's not even sometimes with your personality. You compare relationships to other relationships. You compare your relationships to your friendships to know if you have outgrown your friends, or if you are falling into, a scenario where your friends are outgrowing you. So you're utilizing that relationship, the matriarch, patriarch, the systems of how things relate. One thing being the top and the bottom things. You're using that for something that you don't even know. You don't even know yourself. That's why you're taking it on yourself to be that individual, like the North Node and the South Node. You're taking it upon yourself, something that you don't know that you like, to separate and find an equalized state. A lot of times, being balanced in a relationship takes you separating from groups and people, places, and things, and friends, right? Because you see what's on that side, and you see what is on this side as far as networking, association, Pluto. So that's where that air mentality was coming from, and it was a lot of misunderstanding, especially like Venus misunderstanding is daytime and nighttime. And we got Jupiter that is like it's a benefic, so it's like a daytime planet, right? A daytime expanded version of the sun. Because the sun, unlike the sun being dark, being so bright that it blinds you and you're lost in your own darkness, Jupiter is expanding and experiencing the evolution, the spiritual journey of the sun beyond attention. And then Uranus is in the death, the Aquarius energy. So you got a planet of transcendent sun, and then transcendent Neptune is Jupiter, right? So, but transcendent Pluto is Uranus. That's that. So you got these evolved versions in the daytime of the Taurus aspects, right? But you have the yin realm of the initiator of the fall off of your emotions, falling off, settling down, going back into a vibratory state, going back into a cup, Virgo, the crater, and then the cup of Scorpio, not really being the cup, but having like this cave, this nest, this pit, scorpionic, or Scorpios in the pit of things like that. So you got the moon going into that aspect. So that's a misunderstanding of expanding on what you have. Well, basically a misunderstanding of you wanting to bring balance, or you feeling emotionally imbalanced, or emotionally bored with what you have. So you want to communicate, initiate a new way to talk, initiate seeing different sides of a conversation, just for like Gemini is just conversating for conversation's sake. Libra is about being diplomatic. Like if you have a conversation with a Libra, something might come up about justice so that it could be equaled out. Like Libras will be all about, okay, let's get this clear, we're cool and all that, but where do you stand on this side and where do you stand on this side? And then they open up, and then they're just flowing, bubbling to life with conversations and things of that nature, or sometimes just lying to play the opposite position to see where your head is at, or what you're playing at, for real. So, and then Taurus, so the emotions was misunderstanding, just wanting to have a conversation to feel secure or stable or balanced, or that people, places, and things are being treated equally and fairly. And Taurus is just like over here in the daytime, expanding and transforming and changing things about its sense of stability and security and the things that it has, so that if it changes up what it has within, like it's so worried about its own things within, making it look pretty, that if someone else comes up with a conversation talking about how something looks, and Taurus is like, but I already have this thing that you're talking about. I already have these experiences. I'm already going through these experiences. I'm already changing up these experiences about what you're talking about, what you're using your mind about, what beautiful palace you're creating inside of your mind, Libra. I'm manifesting that down here and putting this shit on the ground for real, for real. But you know, Libra is the mouthpiece. The moon in Libra is our emotions, our mouthpiece to get things moving and cracking, lacking, and things of that nature. And then on the other side of that, you have Pisces, the nighttime, well, daytime Venus. You have Pisces that's exalted in Venus right now. So Venus is in this exaltation in the imagination realm, right? So you got the logic of Venus that rules it, and then you got the Aries logic of conversation, the higher octave that rules it. Then you have the Taurus logic that's like grounding it. But when it's in Pisces, it's exalted, it's going out, it's going to the candy store, it's taking a visit, it's bringing compromising. It's easier to compromise your vision and your imagination. That's how Aries is initiating, because it's already went through that compromise and it has no issue to feel shame or want to hold on to that attention that's expressing, like Leo. So Venus exalted here and the moon here, it's like, okay, emotionally I feel what you're saying. My emotions are washing away, are it's making it like more familiar, because the waves are, you know what I'm saying, you can be judged by the book or you can be judged by the jury that has all kinds of different biases, and the waves is the biases. And so it sees the bias of Venus, and Venus is exalted and it's all out and about. So Libra's like, okay, I'm not gonna try to, you know what I'm saying, force the situation. It's gonna go with the flow. So Venus is the exaltation. So having that misunderstanding brings you more of a clarity of going out and expanding, not even expanding but compromising and relating. You ever been in the dark and you don't see, instead of just cutting on the light, do you ever just think about, okay, how about I just feel around for things? How about I just take baby steps? That's Venus and Pisces in the dark, in conjuncting the moon when it was in Libra. So the moon in Libra went into the moon in Scorpio, taking power, control, and transforming these things. So when the moon is in the moon about to go into Capricorn, is about to be in detriment. But the moon in Scorpio is that fall. The moon is asleep. Our emotions are asleep. So our emotions are recharging from all this balancing and all these misunderstandings. You misunderstand so much that it causes you to overthink. And then when you're done overthinking, then you go and take a nap. Then you go lay down. Then you go recharge. So the moon is recharging. So there's not too many emotions. It's like one fixed solid emotion, passion, and motive that you are standing on the nighttime of Mars, right? With your personal expression, your personal visions and things of that nature, your personality, your person, your human characteristic, but you're human in the form of, you know, okay, this is my stamp into the 3D dimension right here. This is my stamp right here for my personal expression. My personal expression of what I'm taking power control. My personal expression of this block of emotion that I don't want to attach to, because Aries isn't attaching to that. So it's presenting a vision of this emotion that's sitting here. It's presenting this independence of dealing with this cube that it can carry around with it, and its fire, its spark, a few sparks is going to melt a couple corners of that emotion, giving peak insights. And when you have one chip out of Scorpio, then you might as well just like take that piece and run with it, because the little bit that's revealed, they might want you to see that. So Aries might want you to see that, with the Sun in Aries taking action to be independent and not needing things. When you don't need something, with Chiron there, you can kind of make a mistake. Like I said, Chiron goes in the south node in our emotions, right? So your way of healing, you don't really want to attach your emotions. You want to attach your healing as a vision that someone can look at, like a movie. Like, here, watch this. You don't need to take my word for it. Just watch this. Watch the picture. See the different red, yellows, and all the green chakras coming together, right? So and then you have the moon opposing Taurus in Jupiter. Like I said, the moon was misunderstanding. Now it's like, okay, I have this misunderstanding. Okay, now my emotions are asleep. So I'm going to stand back beneath the surface, do my detective work, you know, sextile to Lilith and Virgo. This is what you're going to be seeing. This is what you're going to be seeing, the reflection from me being peer pressure. Lilith and Virgo being peer pressured to you know what I'm saying, go with the flow of what it gets back. Lilith and Virgo might be trying too busy to control and fix the way that it is not seen, but the way that it makes sense in relating to something that someone else is saying with Lilith and Virgo. You know what I'm saying? So with that sextile, that's that Inspector Gadget energy, and it's like you have an opportunity for one thing, and then okay, it's like someone's working with me. We have an opportunity if we put these two things of us together. We have an opportunity. But I'm over here like, okay, I have a gift, so I can Lilith and Virgo be used with value and things that are secure and stable as far as expanding on experiences, which is, you know, Pisces, the ruler. So Virgo might shy away from that planetary body, and Uranus, it might misunderstand what Uranus wants it to do. So even though it's a trine there, it's what planets are trining: Lilith, Jupiter, and Uranus. You know what I'm saying? Going through extreme experiences with analyzing and critiquing the value of worth of something that you have, and then changing that price to reflect that. And Scorpio this whole time is like, it's so deep in itself, it's taking notes, because that's that surface level stuff, because that deals with tangible things and attachments and desires, external desires, and intangible or actually tangible things, rather than tangible things that can be concealed in the dark and you only bump into it when you need it. So that's the moon Scorpio opposing Jupiter and Taurus and things of that nature. And like I said, having the next door neighbor, you know what I'm saying, not being out of the know if something goes wrong with your neighbor, but also not oversharing so much. You have your piece of the pie, they have their piece of the pie, and you are raising the value of your perspective to combine these two things to have that worth for real. So that's the Scorpio and Libra dynamic right there. And trine in Neptune, Venus, Saturn, and Mars and Libra and Mars. Libra, the emotions of having that wave of logic going up and down allows the flexibility for that moon to take a break, because you got the passions and motivations for your dreams, imaginations, the desires, and the energy, and conjoining and compromising. So you passionately compromise, and if something puts if something puts you compromising in jeopardy, you're gonna go that much harder for it. And when you go harder with that passion, you run into the responsibilities that you need to delegate. You need to find a Neptunian style of this energy to delegate, because Pisces is the baby, but it's the accumulation of all the zodiac signs. So you are responsible for delegating each of those particles out of that water to the associate malefic and benefic planetary bodies right there. So that trine is taking power and control, not with your set emotions, but with a set desire for something that you imagine. Like, you went through these experiences of traumatic experiences, and you put yourself to sleep, and now you're out here with this glacier, like 2% of a glacier that you see above water, and the rest is 80% glacier below the water. The rest of that 80% of that glacier is Saturn, Mars, Venus, and Neptune. And Scorpio isn't like, okay, let me rule the masses with this power control. It's like, I have power control over myself, so I'm projecting that defense, that protectiveness over what I have. So it has the gift of, okay, you're using your imagination. Now imagine the darkest thing you can, because depression is a form of imagination. Depression is a worrying about something. It's a heavy feeling. It's a sinking feeling. And just because we talk about Pisces the imagination, that does not mean that it's just like rainbows, overhead rainbows. How you think someone imagined hell below their feet? You know, how you think someone imagined, was aware of the peripheral vision? Because you're looking ahead, but you have an image mixed kind of with some logic of a blur of an awareness that you see beside you. So that's where it's like, okay, the moon in Scorpio is the peripheral vision. It's the peripheral vision. It's the peripheral vision of the responsibilities that you're. So I'm gonna do the right, connecting to something that's to the right, going to the future of your responsibilities. And to the left is of your passions, motivations that are pushing you. Don't forget your motives. Make sure your boundaries and your responsibilities are aligned with your motives, because you are compromised in the equilibrium. Is because Venus, you are compromising by going out and feeling these things, putting yourself compromising. You know what I'm saying? You are balancing these things because you're still anchored with the Neptune, the Neptunian energy. I love using Neptune as Neptune is in the bottom. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the Poseidon movies, you have Poseidon with the Cyclops. You got the Cyclops, and you have the sirens and all those creatures down there. The deep desires, creating tools and weapons and swords and things, and that's utilizing the tools of your imaginations down there below the surface, down there under the deep waves and the conclaves for that practical nature, right? And so there, then, with all that being at rest and squaring Pluto. Squaring Pluto opposite T squares, and Libra is like a T misunderstanding, but the T squares and things of that nature, being in the middle and seeing Taurus and seeing Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius, the positive of the moon. So take power control over your associations and things of that nature, and squaring that is learning how your deep emotions, right, are when you remove them from yourself, you're revealing them to the world, because you're ruling your own world. Scorpio has a lot of minor emotions that are subject to it in authority. That's why you don't see too many facial expressions, fingers, body language, body tails. Just why you don't see too many of those in Scorpio, because it's still a festering of emotions, but it's like a ball of yarn. You know what I'm saying? Coming together with the intent, the intent inside of the emotions that aren't being expressed. The waters, the still waters that run deep, because the more it accumulates together, the more it's not like, okay, let's push outward. No, the more it's like, let's push deeper. Let's just relax deeper and deeper. But you can only get so deep till you start getting irritated. Like, this isn't comfortable. This isn't comfortable, really. And you're getting irritated, you're just getting melancholy, and you're just getting depressed, and you're just getting stale, and you're just like... But all these things are above you for real type shit. So then, that's where it was so cute in Harry Potter when the Phoenix actually burnt out the ashes for real, and it was like the little baby egg came out the Phoenix. So yeah, because that made way for the moon in Sagittarius to it's so fun this weekend. I love talking about the present time energy, because the moon in Sagittarius trining the sun in Chiron and Aries, expanding upon the meanings and the lessons from the healing vision that you projected to others, so that you can teach that. You can actually, okay, you watch the video, now you can do a breakdown of the video. Now you can chop it up into shorts, do segments, do green screens of your own video type energy for real. And then that misunderstanding of Taurus and Jupiter and Uranus, you know what I'm saying? It's having the value of something, valuing, okay, I value this so freaking much. But how can you teach the value? How can you teach the esoteric? How can you expand the value of something beyond just numbers, or even just beyond experiences? This is what we're squaring. How can you expand this beyond experiences? We know if you take the higher octave of Neptune and Jupiter and add that to Pisces, you know what I'm saying, you're adding wisdom and knowledge to your dreams, imaginations, and delusions as a life float device, so that you can be out there, you can pop in, pop out. But as long as you got that floaty device, you got a rope, you got a train of thought, a train of experience, a train of wisdoms to match your imagination. Like, you can watch something on TV all day, and you bring that into your imagination, into your subconscious. You never experienced it, but okay, if I put myself in that predicament, that's what's going to happen. But you can become lost in that delusion. So that's what the moon Sagittarius squaring Neptune is showing you, but emotionally wise. And so, okay, it's cool with the emotions, and Pisces is cool with the emotions as well, but it's accumulation of all the energies. So with Saturn and Neptune where Scorpio was, hey, I have this gift. I'm gonna protect you. I'm gonna guard you. This is gonna be the power of control over all the super stellium of energy that you are paying attention to, that you need to separate to. And then the moon is alive again as a phoenix, as a newborn emotion, a newborn, like a cardinal energy almost. But instead of initiating something and detaching from it, it 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 appears to initiate something, but it's still a springboard off of different mutable principalities and virtues and ideas and things of that nature, for real, for real. So that's where that square and that that misunderstanding in that square comes in. Sextiling, we got two air sextiles, the moon Sagittarius sextile, Libra, the south node. It's an opportunity for our previous relationships, because that's a pretty bird, bro. I'm sorry, I look at the birds. This is a blue jay and cardinals and things. The birds like to listen to the message. But anyways, yeah. So that sextile, that air sextile, is the logic of having that conversation. You know what I'm saying, about things, previous relationships, that you're comfortable bringing justice. It's not terrible with South Node to want to bring justice. You know what I'm saying, peace, balance, passivity, do things with a collective. But it's like, it takes some initiating for you to go out on your own journey to experience these things, to collect the wisdoms, to trailblaze through the different wilderness. And you're going into the woods. You're ascending from your lower animalistic natures of Scorpio, being next door neighbor of, you know what I'm saying, the right brain of Libra, before it gets lost in too heavy of a scale, into transforming and having power control and asserting like that police, that force, that engagement, but within itself on a psychological level of the aura, like don't fuck with me type energy, right? Sagittarius is expanding on that opportunity of previous relationships coming up, previous comfortable relationships that's still sitting there, but you're still going back and experiencing some things. You take some time to learn these lessons over and over and over and over again, and that's when that opportunity of Pluto in Aquarius is, okay, you expand upon your wisdom and you experience something that puts you in a place to have power and control, not overthink it, but have a communication with yourself. Develop your own fixed mentality based off the wisdom. You relate your wisdoms and experiences to people, places, and things all day. Some people might see something different for drugs and things of that nature, but it's up to you to have your own idea or rebellious nature that you can separate from when you are on the road for real. Hey. When you are on the road for real, that you are separating from. That was my boy, that you are separating from. Certain teaching that you can get lost in when you attach too much of, okay, I'm leaning into this person. But what puts you in that predicament? Like I said, a ball of yarn. What puts you in that predicament to put yourself out there into that field of experiencing that thing for real? But yeah, Square and Saturn is like, okay, you have these experiences and wisdoms. What are you going to apply to your boundaries? If you can think it, if you can imagine it, you can create it. What image are you going to project into your own world? From coming from your lower animalistic natures, you get into the midsection, your solar plexus, and then when you go back up, you have to get back lost to find yourself. But you're still coming out of this dimension, this death realm, going to a cosmic life of love and liberty and things of that nature. How much responsibility are you going to take for your experiences? Because you don't have to take responsibility when you're going through them, because you're putting the percentage level. That's just adding up. You might be at a 1, someone you attack along with someone that's a 2, y'all create a 3 on the percentage level, and then you break down the percentages of that 1 compared to that 3 before. That 1 was just that 1 percentage level. And then Saturn and Mars you're learning to expand on your meanings and reasonings for your passions and motivations, or why you're so motivated about something that's not down here, that's not tangible, that you have not seen. Why are you so attached to that for real? And so on with Venus. You learn to compromise your dreams and delusions, or compromise foregoing seeing the reality of something, because you got that T-square with Lilith and Virgo going on the extreme nature of an opposition when you aren't active in that energy for real. And then we roll out the curtains for later on in the evening when Mercury goes retrograde tomorrow on a Monday, and the moon is a Capricorn, so you can be detached from your emotions. Yeah. And so Libra was opposite Mercury, the way of communication, the area communication. So the moon in Libra was watery balances and communications and peace, flexibility. Yeah. And then Mercury in Aries was communicating or thinking really fast, having the confidence to present a vision, or communicate something in a way that the vibration is the word, but the word is, it's in the air. Fire gives the air color, so it creates a smoke screen for it. So it looks like a smoke screen, but you're so attached to it emotionally because you feel the sense of urgency behind the movie attached to Chiron and the North Node. That's going to put you on your spiritual journey where you're learning and presenting these things. And the moon in Scorpio, misunderstanding the alignments of communication really fast with fast acting plans, fast acting communications, to detach from for a conversation that you might get wrapped up in too often on a personal level, that deals too much with your personality, but so you see it as too vulnerable, but that vulnerability is where you present that vision that you can separate from, and you leave your personality on the screen for people to see and learn from, and you learn from it as well, knowing that you aren't that person. You don't have to be that person. You can spread like a wildfire and just burn down that shit. Utilize that daytime instead of that watery, drowning, suffocating slowly type energy. And where you can become a phoenix with that moon trining that Mercury too, experiencing and expanding on your meanings and reasons and teaching, and being, like I said, confident with your going through experiences to communicate vocally in a fast-paced and a visionary style type of way of learning. And then it brings us to Moon in Capricorn. Moon in Capricorn, Sun in Aries, South Node in Libra. The moon is in detriment here, but it gains the wisdom. It uses the emotions, or people allow their emotions to speak for them as their status and reputation, and because they feel emotional connection to the status and reputation, they think they can use their emotions to kind of like push someone in a direction. Like Cancer ain't pushing the emotions to use somebody, it's pushing the emotions to nurture, because it, that's the moon in Capricorn. But yeah, using your emotions to push someone, or having emotional attachment to your status, but you're expressing it. You're expressing this personal way. You're expressing this vision, and how people should be motivated by this vision and go and use that shit for real. Be motivated by the vision. Be motivated by the Chiron about your status. Telling people to learn from your mistakes. Learn from your mistakes as you go along, because you are sextile in Saturn, Neptune, Mars, Venus. You gotta separate and delegate the energies of, okay, all right, I'm going to build upon my responsibilities and my borders and my boundaries. I'm going to build upon the fragility. I'm going to stand on business, even if it's make-believe business, such as fizzled out boundaries. You're going to stand on business that just because it fizzles out, that doesn't mean the shadow work isn't still there. Shout out to Moony Mercury, baby. You know what I'm saying? Vibrational shadow work and frequency shadow work. You know what I'm saying? And this is heavy, yin, grounded, hardened emotion to stand on business. So, yeah, it's responsibilities. And then your passions and motivations with Mars being exalted in Capricorn. So, Capricorn, sextile energy, it's like, bam. When you stand on business, standing on the business of those responsibilities is where you are like, you know what I'm saying, pushing out that motivation, that passion, that motivation, motivated with your ambition for your status, your dreams and delusions and imaginations of your status. And if you can imagine it, if you can think it, then you can motherfucking have it for real, for real. So you got Venus, Mars, Saturn, after that, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, sextile and the things that we're willing to compromise and sacrifice our dreams and imagination and delusions for, you know, because of a status that you have, a status that you're confident in, and a status that you're using. And then the moon trining Jupiter and Uranus, you know what I'm saying, towards the value of something, building and standing on the value of something after all those misunderstandings and the competition between the malefic and benefic planets. You're standing on business with that gift, that grand earth chime with Lilith there and going too far. But you going too far is still a status. Putting your name out there, you can still use that, or you can still be used. You know what I'm saying? Staying down until you come up. You're still going to be the boss of that position that you're standing in and being used on. But it's still squaring, like I said, so you're still learning your personal aspects and what's vulnerable to the things that are external and grounded that you can stand on, that you can see, touch, taste, or feel with your senses and things of that nature. And then while being the mediator between Libra, bringing balance with the communication or conversation style, you are using statuses. You're using all spectrums of things in that nature, right? What you're using something, your reputation guides you to one side of bringing that balance together based off of your employment, your status, tradition, generations and wisdoms and lineages from times and times that passed before. Venus and Pluto, Moon and Capricorn. Moon and Capricorn, sextile and Pluto and Aquarius. You're still like taking that opportunity of standing on business with the power control aspects of people and the society and things of that nature, and not being lost in those types of aspects. Rather, it's like because it's dealing with the networks and the people, and being over worried about that kind of thing, while your status and your reputation is something that is on the business style of doing that, right? On the business style of when Pluto was in Capricorn, but now it's in Aquarius and associations and distant knowledge and power control over the distant knowledge, and who has power control of that knowledge and that type of energy, for sure. So that's the Moon Lunar recap from Libra to Capricorn. This is going to be the last one for the Mercury retrograde and the equinoxes. I'm chilling back, you know what I'm saying, winding down, releasing, you know what I'm saying, these astrology talks and just chilling and relaxing. So just continue to check out my TikToks, you know what I'm saying, posting the funnies, the memes, the humors, my family, the spirituality portion. You know, follow me on Threads. I break down a lot of stuff on there as well, mainly predominantly behind the screens, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, 2024 is just still more to get out there and learn and have fun with. So, still doing life path readings. I'm still doing life path readings for Sun, Moon, and Ascendants. That's why I need to get back on doing my donations, getting on live. And I'll probably get on later, maybe not, or Monday or Tuesday. But I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna do that life path reading, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants. So thank you all who joined, share, heart, like the live. I got 4 likes. I appreciate all y'all. And y'all stay safe out here. Peace.